Just like Oksana said, we are here to talk about our new audio recording and production classes. I did actually just record all those performances. Oksana, if you know how to make this Bose thing work. Cool. Thanks. Okay, so what we are offering is a really incredible opportunity. Just like it says in the flyer, learn to record and produce music. Microphones, equalizers, compressors, digital audio production editing. Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear it.
Oh, let's hear it? Okay.
Sure. So, this is the kind of technology that's available now. I mean, this just happened. We're already listening to it. So, if you're interested in being a music producer, if you know anyone else who's interested in being a music producer, then this is an awesome class. And here's why. So, first a little bit about myself. Like we said, I'm Adam Lansky. I'm going to figure out how to get rid of this thing here. Okay, and I'll be the instructor. Just a brief overview of myself. I have my Associate's in Arts degree from Florida State University back in 2005. I'm a graduate of the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences in Phoenix, and that program really helped get me on track where I can do this now, and I can teach other people how to do this. I have a wide range of experience in the pro audio field, theater, film, radio, television, sound design, live mixing and recording. This is live mixing and recording right here. Studio production, hip-hop, rock, classical piano, violin, folk, and more. I have recorded as many kinds of audio and music as I could, including recording wildlife samples, samples of traffic, all sorts of things that are necessary to go through these steps. If you want to see my resume, I'll send it to you. There it is. Anyways, here's a couple flyers that I have out now, and I have these up here to show you that I am actually a freelancing audio engineer. This is my business. This is what I do. It's not pretengineering, it is engineering. You can't guess. Engineering is about removing the guesswork from everything. So that's what I want to teach people who are interested in this sort of thing, how to not guess. So business is something that may come up in the class. These are flyers I designed myself. I'm not a graphic designer or anything, but you can see I offer classical recording and as a DJ service for restaurants. People who want different kinds of music to dance to. Okay, moving on. The tree falls in the woods, and there's no one there to hear it. Does it make a sound? Who says yes? Okay. Who says no? Okay. And half you didn't raise your hand. So, does it make a sound? Well, what is sound? What's the definition of sound? Sound is the brain's perception and interpretation of the vibration of a physical stimulus which causes sound pressure waves to propagate through the air. I don't expect you to remember that the first time. But, we can see here's our tree falling. He couldn't handle it anymore, so he's got an axe and he axed himself down. And these are sound pressure waves that are propagating through the air. We can see we've got a diagram showing wavelength, and I'm sure sometime back in high school we've all seen this. It's the whole sine wave type thing, right? Mathematical sort of business. Don't be afraid though. Okay, so let's go over this. Sound is the brain's perception and interpretation of the vibration, like the tree, which causes sound pressure waves to propagate through the air. So if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? Let's revisit this question. Who says yes? Okay, so some minds changed here. Okay. There's an answer to this as far as I'm concerned. Metaphor aside, the answer, no. No. The definition of sound implies that a brain must be present to perceive and interpret the vibrations of the object. Okay? So not everything in this class is going to be super scientific sounding, but I'm opening the door here into the audio engineering world and into how you have to start thinking. Because I don't just set up this microphone, and hope that it sounds right. I have to listen. I'm listening to Oksana as she's playing the violin. Where does it sound best? I'm listening to the vibrations of the object that are causing changes in air pressure called acoustic pressure waves. So sound is one way that humans and animals experience sound pressure waves. So Other examples of sound pressure waves, perhaps one not so pleasant, might be an explosion. Or a firecracker in the sky, boom, and you feel the shock wave, right? That is just a huge pressure wave. So, is it important to know stuff like this? Of course. Absolutely. In order to properly record and produce music, one must understand principles of sound and music. Acoustics, microphones, engineering, most importantly, people skills. You could be the best engineer in the world, but if you can't talk to people, if you can't work with people, then that's your career ended before it began. So that's something that I want to start incorporating into this program as well. And to do that, we'll have musicians from the Ovation Music Academy come in, and there'll be some of our studio artists, which I'm really looking forward to. And let's see what's next here. Okay, so I don't know how to go back. I'm an audio engineer, not a computer. Alright, so basically what I'm getting at is, if you were to start studying photography, they're not just going to give you a camera and say, oh, congratulations, you're a photographer. You have to consider light. You have to look at an object and consider the way that the light is falling on the object, whereas the shadow. It's the same thing with drawing. You don't just get pencils. You consider the world we're living in and how everything's working together, especially the people. Okay, so what makes us better? Well, like I said, I even personally attended a major university and got my associate's degree, and then I attended technical school in Phoenix. All in all, it was 4 years of schooling. Okay, so hold on to that thought for now. So what makes us better? There are some tutors in the area that offer lessons on how to use the equipment you own, not an education. What I'm talking about, like I said, is these principles, starting with the fundamentals, and then moving on to more advanced techniques, like being able to wire something like this up. Some schools cost up to $30,000 a year, excluding room and board, transportation, etc. Universities have large classes, require lengthy enrollment processes, and paperwork. Right? There are internet classes, but they lack that hands-on experience and personal attention that you're going to get. We offer one-on-one tutoring. And we have a schedule that we're going to take a look at in a little bit here that you'll be able to see what days the classes are and what days tutoring is available. So also, most curriculums are inflexible, demand high attendance and time commitment. It's a big upfront investment. Maybe you have a friend, a daughter, a son, who says, you know, Mom, Dad, I think I want to get into the music business. And you might say, well, you got to go through this and that. How do you get an internship? And the industry sucks right now, and the economy sucks right now. Well, don't worry about that negative thinking, because we have a lot of answers. We have a lot of solutions here. Okay, so we are the ideal program because, first of all, we're providing a real education on sound recording that is applicable anywhere. Fundamental principles. Now, we are going to go off in some directions, like specifically acoustic guitar, like specifically a violin, like specifically a piano, because the techniques per each instrument are going to vary, but the concept is always the same. Okay? So what you learn here, you'll be able to use, like I said, in theater, in television, in radio, in sound design. So no big commitments to universities, no loans, housing in other states. It's a small upfront investment. This is a great way to test the water. Okay? Small classes, only 4 to 6 people at most. When we get 4 people, we set a date for the class. We can have up to 2 more join in. After that, no more. Because we need to make sure that, first of all, everyone who's in the class is getting the tactile experience of turning these knobs, of pressing these buttons, because you can't just talk about it. You really do actually have to turn the knob. I mean, it might just look like a volume control or something, but there's a lot that goes behind turning that knob, and the decision you make in how much you turn the knob, because there's no going back sometimes in this history that you're writing, right? So the class itself is only $249 a month, and it's a flexible curriculum that spans over 16 weeks. The first 8 weeks, it's 3 levels. The first 8 weeks is beginner. The second set is 4 weeks, that's intermediate. And the final 4 weeks are advanced. You're not obligated to go through all 16 weeks. You can go through the first 8, you can go through the first 4, and then say, well, you know, it's not for us, we're going to seek other opportunities. But we hope you stay with us. So like I said, this is a great way to get started here at home in Arkansas and decide after that if you want to pursue farther. So all in all, if you were to do 16 weeks, that's coming out to $996. So that might sound like a lot up front. Again, you can break it up into sections, but compared to like full sale costs between $20,000 and $30,000 a year to go to. The school I went to was $20,000 for the 1 year. So what you can do, sign up, go through these 16 weeks, decide, you know, I have a great foundation, this is something I want to do, and then push farther. It's like buying an expensive instrument before you buy a $3,000 guitar. You know what I mean? I'm sure we've been there before. So, moving on. Are there any questions at this point? There's a little more to go through, but does anyone have anything in your mind, anything you want to know? No? Okay, I'm happy no one looks like this guy. Alright, let's talk about the curriculum! So here's the curriculum overview. Like I said, the first 8 weeks are the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And if you can see, we've got a picture of the human ear. This is a waveform right here. This is what's called a channel strip, right? And then basically what these are denoting over here are laboratories. At the end of every 4 weeks, there's a laboratory that's going to involve hands-on time with students actually wiring things up themselves and working as a team. Teamwork is vital. In any industry, teamwork is vital, but in this industry in particular, you cannot, no man is an island. Or a rock, whatever. Okay, so first 8 weeks are dedicated to developing a fundamental understanding of what sound is and how it is captured by recording equipment. Astute students will learn how to select an appropriate microphone for the application, properly place it, set recording levels, and track sound in the Logic Pro 8 digital audio workstation. So, I don't think you can see from back there. Oh, I believe I have a photograph right here. This is what Logic 8 looks like. Oh man, it's scary! Look at all that stuff. Wow. Well, actually, it's really not so scary when you take it step by step, and that's what we're going to do. This is called an amp modeler, right here. Some people like to record their guitar without using an actual amplifier, and then after the fact, change the sounds. This is a stereo spreader device right here, and you can use that to widen a stereo image a little bit. This is a distortion. This is a noise gauge, so that if there's a really quiet passage, it only lets through the loud passages and cuts the other ones. So let's click back to that real quick. So week 1, sound and hearing. 2, digital audio basics, then microphone basics. 4, signal flow and mixers. And then like it says right here, laboratory number 1 is mic setup and signal routing. So basically the concept here is we're going to take 4 weeks. Each class is on a Thursday, and then the laboratory is on a Saturday afternoon. Each class is 1 hour, the laboratory is 4 hours. And what it does is it sums up everything that we have learned, where the laboratory is not really possible without knowing this. You might be able to guess, but engineering is not about guessing. I've never heard a civil engineer, looking at a bridge and it's like, yeah, that looks all right. No, you have to be very precise. Okay, that's why it's called engineering. So then moving on, it shows instrument and mic placement, intro to audio processing, like using all of these crazy things right here. Introduction to Logic Pro, which is the program, and then interface operations followed by basic recording. I know this is a lot of technical stuff right now, but attending the class is going to make it all make sense. Well, what is an interface? Let me introduce you to a couple things over here real quick. Can everyone see this? More or less? So, this is a power strip right here. It's called a power conditioner. It's like a surge protector, except it's better than that. It helps regulate the electrical current to remove noise. This is a 2-channel compressor. That's something that you can use to make something louder overall, or control the volume in general. This is an interface right here. This is your analog to digital converter. This is like when you're talking into your cell phone. Cell phone's a digital device, but a microphone is an analog device. So there's a tiny little chip in there, and what that does is it takes all of those waveforms that we saw before, and that converts it into ones and zeros, binary code. So, very important piece right here. This is another digital compressor. This is called a channel strip. It's multiple items in one, and then these are like sound sweetening processors. They add a little bit of that gloss on top. It's like the icing, What's cake without icing? Bread. All right. So, intermediate curriculum. It starts expanding on the basic knowledge base by further developing listening skills and studying techniques. And studying techniques for the engineer's two most important tools, equalizers and compressors, just like I said right here. What a lot of kids are doing, and a lot of so-called engineers and a lot of musicians, they're going into these recording programs and they're picking presets. Like, you know how you'll click on the radio in your car and it's like, ooh, here's the rock preset, here's the pop preset. You know, I'm listening to Elton John, so I need to pop. Well, people are doing that, and the thing is, that's not engineering. That's guesswork, that's a band-aid. So what we want to be able to do is take these two tools and other tools and use them to sculpt sound. After learning about analog and digital effects, students are ready to record and mix a live music performance, just like I did today, by Ovation Music Academy's very own students. So after these 12 weeks, you're ready to record. And that's basically like a toddler standing up. It's not on all fours anymore. Now he's standing up, getting into all kinds of crazy things you don't want him to, but it's okay. It's just music. So the advanced curriculum lasts 4 weeks. Advanced editing, sound design and Foley, ADR and voiceover, mastering, and then the final laboratory. This is really cool. I think an important part of education involves not so much dictating to students, this is what we're learning, but involving them in the education process. So the question is, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to record a band you know? Be it Ovation Music Academy, or should we bring in someone we don't know to simulate what it's like actually working with someone for the first time? Because that can be difficult. Or, it says music or film, what we could do also is, it says right here, ADR, voiceover, sound design, Foley, advanced editing. These skills are the hallmark of the engineer. When you can do these things, this is when you can really begin to create whatever it is you want to hear. And this is what's always fascinated me personally, is what is this sound? How can I recreate this sound? Okay, so getting back to the film, what we could do instead of recording a band is we can take a movie. What's a good Disney movie out right now? There aren't any? Alright, we'll take Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. Strip out all the audio. Silence. So Bill and Ted are like, right? Well, what we can do is we'll set up microphones, and ADR, it's called after dialogue recording, voiceover. We'll have the students actually record the voices to what they see on screen. But that's not enough, because there's the sound of traffic. There's the sound of fans. There's the sound of people in the background, footsteps. All this is sound design and Foley. Foley is actually, to me, it's absolutely fascinating. It's the art of matching sound to what's on screen. If you've ever seen The Lord of the Rings, The Lord of the Rings has, I believe, the biggest Foley session in history. Because there's this huge battle scene with all these goblins running in, right? There's all these weapons, and everything's going completely nuts and stuff. Well, every single thing that you hear was recorded by Foley artists. There are these warehouses in Hollywood or in New Mexico, if you guys want to be bothered. And there will be sand pits, gravel pits, mud pits, armor, all this stuff, and they clang them together and they record all these sounds to the film. So either one of these, recording a band or putting sound to film, are two excellent ways to take all of our knowledge, just like I said, starting at the very beginning, what is sound, how do we hear it, what can we hear, and then go through to the point where we can actually re-record sound to film. And that is very exciting. So here's the schedule right here that we have proposed. It is color-coded for those that are color deficient. Regular group lessons are here on Thursday. The monthly hands-on lab is every Saturday. And open tutoring is where there is no set schedule, but if someone wants to come in and get some one-on-one tutoring, you know, Mr. Lansky, I remember this part about the equalizer, but I don't know where exactly to put the low cut. How do I know where to put the low cut? And how do I know if I've over-compressed something? Well, come on in for an hour, or however long your student needs, however much you want to support, you know, yourself or your child's passion. It's like it says, every regularly scheduled class will have 4 to 6 students and will potentially cover multiple topics. At the end of the 4th week on Saturday, a 4-hour lab class will take place that allows the students to have dedicated hands-on time, we talked about this, Tuesday and Saturday we'll have time allotted for students that wish to schedule private tutoring to learn and practice whatever they wish. This is my personal equipment. I'm going to have it insured before this whole shindig goes down. But we're going to be using my equipment. And the reason for this is I'm familiar with it, and it is industry standard stuff. Anthony here is a vocalist, and we're a duo. Every single thing that we have recorded, I have recorded myself. I will not go to another studio. It's unnecessary. And we use this equipment right here. In fact, we were up until 3 in the morning last night using that equipment. So, regarding the private tutoring, one exception is only students enrolled in the recording and production curriculum can schedule private tutoring, with the exception that potential students are allowed to sign up for one private tutoring session at cost before deciding to register for the full program. So even if you're not sure if you want to get involved right now, sign up for an hour and come on in, and then I'll take the time, show you what you want to know, show you some stuff that I've done before, and maybe even if there's something you have that you want to work on, you can do that too. That's absolutely fine. So, special offer though. So we're asking $249, but right now we're running it for just $199 a month, and that's because we want to get a good introductory price, get people involved, and start spreading the love, spread the knowledge. Any questions at this point? No? One question. Go ahead.
When are you starting?
As soon as we get 4 people to sign up. I think, do we have 2 so far? Yeah, so as soon as we get 4 students signed up, just like I said, we'll set a begin date, and then probably 2 weeks after that, we'll close it up, and that's when the first class will begin. Sir?
Are the tutoring sessions included in the monthly fee?
No, sir.
How much are they?
They are, I believe, $48 for 1 hour. Is that right? Anyone else? Okay, well, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for attending. And if you're interested at all about the equipment that we have up here, I invite you to come take a look. I'll let you know. You can turn some knobs and press some buttons if you're interested. If you like, I'll play back the recording that we just did. So, thank you all so very much for attending. And we hope you guys want to get involved.